Welcome to the Smart Influencer Podcast. I'm Christina,
And I'm Corinne.
and together we help digital entrepreneurs streamline their business, maximize revenue, and finally feel in control of their time.
Every week, we share tried and true strategies, proven systems, and expert interviews to help you grow your influence and income without the burnout. So if you're ready to get smarter about how you run your business, you're in the right place.
Before we dive in, if you love what you hear, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you find today's conversation helpful, be sure to share it with a friend who could use it too.
So today, you've got Christina and I. We don't have a guest. We're each other's guests today. And we are going to be talking about mindset shifts that we've adopted over time that really changed how we do what we do dramatically. So none of the simple little needle movers today. We're going to talk about some of the big things that once we adopted them, really turned things around, or made a big impact. I'm super excited about this
I know,
topic.
because sometimes these are the things that kind of get lost in the shuffle and you don't even realize you're doing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Um,
I mean, you kind of have to be a little introspective with this and sit back and see the
right.
forest through the trees.
And I think some of these won't be a surprise to our listeners because a couple of them, I can think of one of yours, Christina. I know that we reference all the time. Like done is better than perfect.
Because
Um,
perfect never gets done.
because perfect
There's
never gets
there's
done.
a part B to that
Yeah.
that I
So
learned.
Christina's got a sticky note on her desk. Like she references it a lot. It's funny. I have yet to see you in person at your home. Like I haven't seen the sticky note, but I know it exists.
Well, now the next time we meet in person, what I've done is I've made a custom desktop for my laptop and my desktop, and it is on there because it is one of those things that I have to tell myself regularly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I need to do that because I get stuck in that perfectionism and, the analysis paralysis where you just don't move forward because you don't feel like everything is just so.
Right. So I didn't mean to steal your thunder though.
No, that's okay.
So I don't know that that was the thing that had the biggest impact on you, but I do know it's the thing you remind yourself of a lot.
Yeah, it is one of the biggest ones. And I think that when it comes to that, it's easier for me to ignore it and put my head in the sand, like let's say I'm working on a project
Mhm.
and it's not where I want it to be. So rather than moving forward with it, which is the big scary, I
Right.
would rather just put my head in the sand and keep working on it
Yeah.
until it
Yeah.
gets to this perfect point that there may not even be a perfect point in my head.
Right.
It's kind of just like that big scary of making it happen.
Well, you know what I realized? Like, this is not probably my biggest lesson, but this was very enlightening for me, and it came from my son. He was he was a procrastinator with his schoolwork, but he was a straight A student. Like he's a very strong student, but he would wait and he'd have all this stress at the last minute. And he told me, he's like, pressure makes diamonds, mom. Pressure makes diamonds. And he this married up with at the same time too. I was really into the concept of the 20-hour work week. I was a
Yeah.
big fan girl of Rosemary Groner, and she used to talk about she really only allowed certain work hours. And she said at a conference I went to, she's like, you will take as much time as you give yourself.
I thought
If
you were going to
you
go there.
Yeah, if you give yourself 8 hours for a project, you'll take 8 hours. If you give yourself 20 minutes for a project, it will take 20 minutes. Will the output be the same? No. But will it be noticeably different? Likely not, right? Like the things that when I think about how much effort it takes to get to 80% done, it takes that much time again to finish it, to get from 80 to
Right.
100.
Yeah,
And
your ears must have been ringing yesterday because I was talking about that. Like if you allow yourself 4 hours, you'll take four. I was like saying, Corinne always says. So
yeah,
your ears must have been ringing yesterday when I was talking about that because it's absolutely true.
yeah,
It's absolutely true. And I kind of think I tend to work like your son. And if I have a deadline and I can work
yeah,
under pressure, I can get it done.
yeah. Yeah, because it has to. It has to happen then. This is why I need a Brenda, right? Like go back and listen to that episode if you don't know who my Brenda is. But Brenda is my business manager. And I need her because she's the person that does plan in advance.
Mhm.
And she's the person that assigns, frankly, arbitrary deadlines to me, right? Like, because she is in panic mode a month before something is due. So every
Right.
day after the month before, like she's in panic mode and she's breathing down my neck in the nicest, most professional way. But like I need this from you. I need this from you. Whereas like left to my own devices, I don't think it's due till the day that it's due. And then something happens in life and I get derailed and then it doesn't go out when it's supposed to because I didn't build in any fluff time. So that's not, I'm not saying to put everything off. Like what I'm saying in the lesson that I learned is that if you give yourself too much time, you'll
Right.
take too much time.
Right. And I wish that my team members and the people that I have things that I owe things to really knew how much I thought about them on a daily basis.
I know.
Because I do. I have the notes everywhere and I think about them. And sometimes it's just the action doesn't happen because I don't feel that pressure yet.
Right. Right.
And this happened to me this morning. It was something that's been on my list, and every day I think about it and I see it there and I know I need to do it. And I know I need to do it. And today the email came, so I need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I hate to be that person, but yeah, I do need a little bit of pressure. So if that's you, right? Like it doesn't have to be you are the person that does everything a month in advance, or you're the person that does things at the last minute. If you know that you're the person that does things at the last minute, which we're saying is actually kind of smart, maybe because we both do it, but also because you're not wasting time, like
Right.
spending too much time on it. Like you can put things into place that help you. Like
Yeah.
you got to find the right thing. Like you and I have tried it together with the business, right? Like setting deadlines on our calendar. It's
Yeah.
on the calendar, it's due that date, but we can't get past knowing that we set the arbitrary date.
No, Corinne's like, you set that fake deadline.
Yeah, we so that system does not work for us, so you got to find the right
Yet
system.
every week a podcast episode manages to drop.
Somehow, I think that is for us, it's accountability because we've got at least
Yeah.
three people that are like, I still need this from you to get this
Yeah.
podcast out the door. So yeah, I need
Yeah.
people breathing down my neck. That was not the mindset shift. That the mindset shift was realizing like you will, if you give yourself too much time, you will waste time.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
um, I will say for me, I think really like the biggest shift I made that I consider like a true mindset shift was back when I read Your Best Year Ever, uh, Michael Hyatt.
Hmm.
And he's not the first person to come up with this, but it was the first time I read it in a way it hit me. And he really talked about the difference between scarcity thinking and abundance thinking.
Mm.
And ever since I made that shift, like stopped thinking about there's limited resources or like like it gets you out of competition, one, which I think is so unhealthy in our in
Right.
our industry, but it gets you like if you just innately believe there will be enough. The universe will somehow provide. And I don't mean to be woo-woo, but like if I'm just doing the right things, things will, right? Like it will happen. I'm not going to be looking for boogeymen because the amount of time I feel like some people waste, like going down, like seeing back in the olden days when we had share groups, right? Like when you drop something in Facebook and everybody agreed to share somebody else's post, the number of people, I like it mystified me then that there would be people that would spend as much time as they spent on doing the thread as chasing down the people that didn't finish the thread
Right.
because it wasn't fair. Was
Right.
that a good use of your time? Like, I I'd just rather sit out of the share thread, right? Like
Yeah.
if I felt that indignant about it.
Yeah.
So like that, like once I started thinking about that, like I'm not going to worry about like it, just get out of scarcity thinking. And I
Yeah.
can
That's
identify that
great.
it's super easy to spot in people when they're a scarcity thinker. Like those are the people that are like they want to see what you do for them before they do for you, right?
Hmm.
Like it's easy to identify in people.
They're
Uh,
takers, they're not givers.
right. Like
Or they may
I
give, but they don't give until they've taken first.
right. It's transactional.
Yeah.
It's transactional.
Yeah.
And they're that way because they're like trying to, they feel like there's limited resources. I
Hmm.
can't give away all my good stuff because like I need to keep, I need to keep it so I can get ahead.
And
I
that
would
can go
say
deep. I
it
mean,
can
that can go deep into childhood and the way you were brought up. And
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, like the whole depression era, like what they talk, like the hoarding that's, from that era, like they have good reason. So I'm not
right.
criticizing anyone for it, but for me, once I realized I can sometimes slip into that, especially like when stats aren't looking good, right? Like you have a bad month and traffic dips, it starts to be all of a sudden like it's easy to flip that negative switch. But for me, if I can, like when I see it coming and I've got a couple good friends that like know this is important to me, that will call me on it, right? Like that doesn't sound very altruistic of you, or like sounding very abundant. Like when I start to look for where someone might be screwing me over, like
Right.
that's not how I wanted to live my life. And in general, I feel like I don't know, things have gone better when I can keep my head in that space. And it's one of the things I love about this podcast is I feel like really for the most part, every guest we have is on the abundant side.
Oh,
They share so
absolutely.
generously, right? Like there's like I don't think we've ever had a gatekeeper come on.
No.
It was gatekeeping information. They pretty much answer whatever we ask them if they can.
Yeah, and to be honest, just here's a peek behind the curtain. Corinne and I do not prep questions ahead of time, and we they don't know what's going to come out of our mouths. We just like to keep this like it's a casual conversation, and we are asking the questions we hope that you're thinking, and we're asking them on your behalf. So it's not like our guests know what we're going to be saying and they have a prepared script.
Right. That is, yeah. So we never know where it's gonna go. Like, it's maybe a little unstructured for that, but I do love that because it's just like an like we really wanted the hotel lobby, right? The hotel
Yeah.
lobby at the conference. Like these are the kind of conversations we would have. You find someone that has like the superpower you don't have.
Right.
Just want to know all the details. And
And
it's
that's the best place, I think, to find those abundant thinkers is the
I
hotel
agree.
lobby. I mean,
I
there's
agree.
such an energy there.
There is.
Such an energy where everybody's just free sharing. I
Yep.
love that. That's what I miss the most post-COVID. I
Yeah.
truly, truly miss that. I feel like it's starting to bounce back a little bit. We're still not where we were pre-COVID, but
Right.
I love that. I love just being in a room with smart people, and so many times people don't think they're smart, but they
I know.
really are.
Yeah.
They really, really are.
Our What's Working episodes, I think, are good evidence of
Yeah.
that. Like people that were like, "Oh, I can't come talk. Like I don't have anything I could talk about for half an hour." We're like, "But this thing you do is really cool. Like we
Yeah.
know that like you mastered Facebook or you're like doing really well on MSN or whatever."
And the
Because
funny
they
thing was, we usually had to shut them down because they
right,
could have kept going for a half an hour or more.
but nobody believes that they have information worth sharing, and
Yeah.
everybody does.
So
So yeah, that
one
was
of
my
my
biggest one. What was yours?
one of my biggest mindset shifts, and I've said this a lot of times, is I had to learn, and it's something I again I say to myself all the time, I have to take myself out of the equation.
Yeah,
I think when it comes to what we do, our vision, like our views of things are so skewed and jaded, and we know too much.
right,
And I don't think, as much as I think that, my average reader is, a mom like me who's busy and doing, I am not that person because I know way too much how the inner workings go on behind this, whereas my readers don't.
right,
They're not in this industry. They don't know, the newest email technique or the newest this or that. And we're seeing it from that perspective and they're not. So I always tell myself that. Like every time I'm making a decision or I'm trying to figure out what's working, what's not working, I have to say, is this me thinking or is it my reader's
right.
perspective?
Right. And I think that is really hard for us to do as
Yeah.
bloggers. Most of us who started a site because we were trying to provide the information we had a hard time finding. So we wrote it for ourselves,
Right.
essentially. Like most of us started that way.
Right.
And so like you think that your reader is you, but the longer you've been doing it, the less that's true. Like right
Right.
now, like technically I've aged out of where my audience is. Right? Like I'm a grandma and I'm writing parenting advice for people with young children.
Yeah.
So,
It's
um,
true. And like you just have to think like that. And I'm not saying ever compromise your morals or, anything that you believe in to make a decision. That's not what I'm saying. But you just have to take out, like I prefer
right,
XYZ. And it's kind of like the email pop-ups are always a big one. People are like, I hate email pop-ups. I would never put them on my site because I hate them.
right.
I don't like them either. I X right out of them, but they are the best converting
Yeah.
email sign up forms that I have. So sometimes I have to look at the number and say, it's not about what works for me, it's about what works for my readers.
Well, And this wasn't a mindset shift, but I think it goes along with what you're saying, like this pop-up specifically. There are things that I don't want on a like on a blog, or I wouldn't want on a blog I was visiting, but I accept on other sites, pop-ups being one of them. If
Hmm.
I'm shopping, I almost always sign up so I can get the discount code.
Hmm.
So I think we don't do this enough in our industry, particularly if you're in a tight niche. I
Right.
forget, I don't have a great example. It's like it kicking around in my head where we had someone asking us about something because she was in a very specific niche and she didn't like know where it applied. And we were like, well, you just like it's great you're in this niche that you don't like, so none of your competitors are doing this, but this is a proven strategy, right? Like you can bring it over. And I don't think this is why I loved FinCon. I don't think we do it enough. Step outside of our niche to see what's
Right.
working in our general space. So and again, I think that kind of comes back to what you're saying in terms of like getting out of our own way,
Hmm.
like just looking at a different perspective.
And
It like, go
I'm
ahead.
so guilty of it.
Me too.
Like
Oh,
it's
for sure.
one of those things I have to remind myself, like daily. I should probably have a post note on my computer about that one too, because I have to physically ask myself, is this you that it has the problem or is it your readers?
Right.
And looking at that.
So that that brings me actually to my other big mindset shift. Um, and you're gonna laugh because we've both said it about ourselves, is that like the one thing that I learned when I started asking myself, my business became so much more efficient, was I'm like, where do I need to fire myself?
Yes.
Where am I the bottleneck?
Yes.
Like, where am I the problem? And it was a lot of places.
I'm always the problem.
It still is. Like this is a battle I constantly battle, but it's like I have to like actually put myself in that mental state to look at my business that way. It's one of the things that happens on CEO day once a month. Like
Yep.
I do. I sit and I think, okay, where is my business underperforming? How like where is it my fault? And very often, like I can come up with a good list about that.
Yeah.
Because no matter maybe this is the mindset shift I have to make, but like no matter what, no matter how much, like I am okay with like hiring out help and I don't want to be doing all the work. So easily I get wrapped back into this has to be me, this has to be me, this has to be me.
And that's a huge mindset shift right there. And that was one of the biggest game changers for me because I am a type A control freak. I like to maintain control. I've often said that's why I could never like I don't drink a lot because I just don't like to not be in control of myself. Like I need to have that part of control.
Right,
So for me, it was very hard to hire my first team member. And of course, everything went wrong, like as it always does, because I wasn't prepared like I should have been. But once I figured out the system and I got it working and I started realizing that, yeah, I don't need to do everything.
right.
Like I don't have to do it. There are ways that other people can help me do things. It was so liberating.
Yeah,
And so if you're out there listening and you're like, yeah, I can't give up control of,
right.
of anything in my business, I'm going to challenge you that yes, you can. And trust me, once you do it and you figure out that you can do it, you're going to see how many more opportunities that opens for you because your brain is now freed up a little bit more to work on other things.
I'm going to say something that goes along with that because I like outsourcing for me was both liberating and also painful. Like I've had a lot of duds, right?
Yeah.
I learned a lot about hiring. I learned a lot about like what I look for, what is important to me. And initially I think I was trying to get something off my plate, so I would hire someone that was like an expert or that had skills in that because I thought they'll do it better and I won't have to mess with training as much, which is to me like the part I dread. But it did not take long for me. Like my team now are like family.
Yeah.
If I had to fold the business, like I think I might go get like a part-time job to figure out how to keep paying their
Just to keep
salary.
paying them.
Like seriously, they are like family to
I
me.
know.
Um, and and they're the same way. Like I trust them implicitly.
Yeah.
I would rather now hire for that. Like, how trustworthy are you? How like committed are you? How responsible and reliable are you to any skill? Like,
Hmm.
because skills can be taught,
I
but
can teach you that. I can't teach you attention to detail. I can't teach you time management. I can't teach you like there's certain inherent skills, and that's what I look for when I'm hiring out. It's not, do you have WordPress experience? Do you have this? I can
Right.
teach you all of that. What I
Right.
can't teach you is how to manage your time, how to communicate well, how
Right.
to, juggle multiple projects, things like that. Like that's stuff I can. So yeah, I've totally changed, like shifted in how I hire people. I'm the same way. My team, I love every single person
Yeah.
that works for me. They are fantastic. And it was my father used to always say, because he was like a serial entrepreneur, but he always said, Chris, he's like, hire somebody just as smart as you, if not smarter. And like so many times we think we have to hire below us. Like there can't be, I can't hire anybody that's better than me. I
Right.
don't know why we think like that,
Right.
but it's
And
true.
again, if you're in abundant thinking, it's easier to get over that.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing at risk.
Yeah. They're not taking anything from you, but, and it makes so much more sense to hire somebody who's just as smart as you, if not smarter. Yeah.
Right. And I like we've had several people on that have talked about zones of genius. I don't know that
Yeah.
that's a mindset shift for me, but like appreciating that, like
Yeah.
I do like so like Brenda and I had some growing pains when I promoted her to business manager because she does have a very different personality than me and like I make her crazy, she was making me crazy because because she works for us as part of our partnership. When she comes at you with a list, like she has a list
Oh,
of things. It's very detailed and she expects you to answer all 12 and my brain just does not function that way. So it was painful for both of us.
and I
But
love that she looks at the details because I look more high level and make sure
exactly,
that, all the cogs are spinning, but she's actually making sure like the cogs are oiled and like,
exactly,
like everybody's
exactly.
got what
She
they need.
actually prevents the catastrophic failure from the little things
Yeah.
that you like didn't even remember existed.
Yeah.
Um, but to me, like she has a completely different zone of genius
Hmm.
and my business is so much better for
Yeah,
that, having her included.
for sure.
So,
So one of the other mindset shifts for me that, I think played a big role is not comparing myself to others. And it's so easy. I mean, it's so easy to have that imposter syndrome, especially when you're scrolling the Facebook groups and everybody's touting their wins and you're like, yeah, that's great. And you're like, but then you're secretly dying inside a little bit and you're like, well, I'm not like that. And you're like, I'm not reaching that goal or I'm not at that point yet. And it's so hard to realize that your beginning is could be somebody else's middle or end.
right,
And you're just getting started, but they've been doing this for 15 years.
right.
And it's hard to realize that because we get caught up in the moment and we're seeing everybody's success and you don't know that the hard work and the sacrifice that
Right.
went in behind the scenes.
Well, that's how I started Wonder Mom because when I lived on base in Lejeune, the like it was their first time that we had lived on base. We have always lived off base. So we lived on base. And in my head, like I didn't have a very put together house. Like it wasn't a pigsty, but like I didn't spend a lot of time decorating because we moved every 2 years, right? Like who would put
Right.
effort into, painting or doing a bunch of stuff? And I wouldn't like get fancy curtains because every single window was a different size, right? Like, when we moved. So this was my excuse for years. Well, we move on to base and like my neighbor like invites us over for coffee. And our house was beautiful. Exact same floor plan, Christina. Exact same floor plan. You would never know it was the same house though, because hers was like a Martha Stewart house. And so I'm like, wow, like I'm really like failing. And then we had this woman down the street that had all these kids, and like those kids were like it was like a military unit. They'd pick up and clean and they were super polite and they were fantastic. I'm like, wow, I'm a crappy mother, right? Like so and then we had my running partner was 10 times fitter than I was. Like, she's like, oh, you run, let's run together. And she like ran twice as fast as me. I'm like, wow, I'm really out of shape. Because like, then all of a sudden I felt like this failure as a person, as a, like
Yeah.
as a mother, because all these people managed it. But I took, the woman who had a beautiful house, that was her thing. She loved to have a beautiful house.
Yeah.
She didn't work out, right? Which is fine. Like nobody has to, but like, so I'm comparing each piece where I'm in the middle with everybody's best thing.
Mhm.
And I think we do that
Yeah.
in blogging. You look at the person that's crushing it on Instagram, but they don't do email or they aren't doing, Facebook. They're really good at internet at Instagram and kudos to them. So
And
my Instagram's not as big. Like, who cares?
And a lot of times we don't know what they consider crushing it.
Right.
The
Yeah.
the
True.
Facebook post can be like, "Hey, I've just discovered this killer strategy on email. It's doubled my open rates and my click-through rates." And you're like, "Oh, I wish I could do that." But maybe doubling for them, maybe doubling their open rates was just getting it to 10%, going from
Right.
5% to 10%. They don't ever say,
Right.
what that level of doubling it or crushing it is.
Right.
So we in our minds, and
Right.
by we, I mean me,
No.
goes right to
Right.
you're killing it. You are at like a 60% open rate and a 40%
Right.
click-through rate. And that may not be what it is at
Right.
all.
And it's not even that they're misrepresenting. They like in
No,
their mind,
that was
that was
killing it.
giving true advice. Yeah, they doubled it and
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to, I think, step away from that and realize, great, what's that strategy? How can I remove myself from the picture and make
Right.
it work for me?
Yeah.
And, like instead of comparing yourself and then getting, down in the dumps or dejected about something like that.
Well, and I think we see it in moments like now too, where like the rules of the game seem to have changed a little and everybody is a little rudderless. So
Hmm.
like you're looking for the person that knows what they're doing. And I feel like this, and we've talked so much about this because I think it's such a prevalent thing now. But I think this is the time that you double down on what are you good at? What are you good
Yeah.
at? What do you do? What unique thing is it you have with your audience? Instead of looking around, just I think that's where our wins are going to be.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to figure out what somebody else has figured out already and they have a different audience or a
And
different,
copying it.
yes, something. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the time too when you have to realize, like, when you're doing that, done is better than perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it's like, I want to host an online cooking, an
Right.
online cooking class, but I'm scared to do it. Well, just get out there and do it. And yeah, it's not going to be perfect. Your first one is going to suck. I will
Right.
say that, like, I've done it and mine, I felt like it sucked, but the end user didn't feel like it sucked. I felt like it sucked on my end.
Well, and I love when Adam was on and he talked about that. Adam Sobel, am I getting that
Yeah.
right? Remember when he was talking about
Yes.
if you look at his earlier videos, like because now he's got like this big production thing going on, but early on he said his videos were very lackluster, but
Yeah.
that's what got him started. Like that's what got him to where he has these really great, greatly produced videos
And I
now.
think we don't realize that our users, our readers, want to see that imperfection.
Yeah.
So, like last week, I shared a picture. I just did a marathon video day, actually, a marathon video week, and I was exhausted. And I just showed a picture of off the side of the camera and what my counter looked like. And I
I
got
saw
so
that.
much feedback, and it was like, oh, thank God your kitchen looks like mine.
Yeah.
Like, because they just see the perfectly not I don't want to say perfectly styled, but it's perfectly cleaned out of all the clutter and
Right.
all the things. And you don't see the dirty dishes. You don't know that I ran my dishwasher 3 times. You don't know like what's even behind the camera. You just saw what was on the side. But I think it helps us make that connection when people
Yeah.
don't see the perfect all the time. And it's okay to show the warts sometimes.
Right. So for I think the last mindset shift that I like
Yeah.
the my most recent that I've had and that like personally for me I'd like to end on, but I'm happy to hear yours is I've been such a big Vanessa Van Andrews fan
Yeah.
lately. She's the body language person and I love her because she talks about being a recovering awkward person. So I'm working on becoming a recovering awkward person. I think I'm still in full on awkward mode, but I'm working on it. And the one thing that she has said that I've really been trying to practice is that and going into any interaction tries like she comes in with the energy, I want to like you. I want to
Mm,
like you and I'm going to work really hard to find the thing that's going to make me like you. And even if you don't find it or you only find one thing and it's after a lot of seeking, the positivity that brings to that engagement, right? Like, and the way that, like, if you're really trying to positively engage with someone to pull out the things that you like, they're happy to talk about themselves and you learn interesting things, but it just changes that energy a little
yeah.
bit. And then if you walk away and you've identified that someone just doesn't have a lot to like, at least then you're armed with knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Like you're armed with knowledge and you know how much time or energy you're going to give to that.
Yeah.
But that has really impacted how I'm showing up in different places, particularly like I'm in a time of upheaval, like on a personal side. And it's helping. Like it's
Mhm.
helping to keep me like to identify where there are blessings hiding that,
Right. And that's a big one, I think, personally, is just, if you parlay that and think about coming from a place of positivity. And so many times it's so easy to get caught up in the negative and this is wrong and this and no, 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 and like that place of no. Where if you just flip that switch a little bit and you start thinking, well, yes, I could do that if I did X, Y, Z, like, and thought about it a little differently. And sometimes I get caught up in that where it's like I'm in that negative mindset. And I just have to go in and find something positive and just say, well, at least da, 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 whatever it is. And just I have to tell myself to do these things. These don't come naturally. It's not something that, I'm just good at doing and I always do that. I'm physically thinking about this in my head and telling myself these things.
yeah, I do too. I have a little running script. I tried the gratitude thing, like writing down 3 things I'm grateful for to start my day, but for some reason that one doesn't work for me because I end up writing the same things essentially, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
grateful for my friends, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my health, right? Like I've got maybe 5 things and they kind of rotate in on what it is. But I felt like that one of like trying to find a positive in each situation you
Yeah.
enter, like it does. It also gives me, this is why it's great for awkward people. It gives you something to think about other than how you're going to screw up what you're about to say.
Hmm.
I do that, all our listeners know I stick my foot in my mouth quite often.
Yeah.
So
Right? We all do.
if you give yourself something to focus on, you're not worried about that.
But
So,
it just kind of, like it kind of helps. And sometimes I have to tell myself, like if somebody's being negative and I feel like it's a drain on me, I have to say, well, maybe they're just not having a good day because I do that if I'm not in a good place. It's not that I'm just a negative, mean person. I could be my whole world is crashing down
right.
around me and I'm never going to let you see that. So, but you have to kind of make those work. So I hope you picked out some good advice from this and our
Yeah,
trials and tribulations.
maybe a couple of mindset shifts that might help make an impact. So,
Yeah, I hope it's helping you. But thank you for joining us today. And I hope that you found that today's session was packed with information and that you can implement at least one thing that you learned.
and we'd love to hear from you. So if you do try any of these things or you've already applied some of these mindset shifts, like we'd love to hear yours. So tag us on Instagram at the Smart Influencer with your biggest takeaway from today or your own suggestion, or drop us a DM and let us know how you're applying what you've heard here today.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We'll be back next week with another episode to help you grow smarter, work less, and earn more. See you then.